Thank you, Himanshu, for coming on today's episode of Mera Pehla Crore. I am really excited to have you here. And you're doing some amazing things with, I think, Break into VC, that you're helping people understanding the segment of VCs and investment banking much better than they are currently being told in the. I don't think, uh, I still think that there's a lot of enigma around these subjects, and it's really great to see that people like you are coming up and helping people, the youth, understand how to take their career forward in this particular segment of the market. And yeah, you've had an amazing journey. I have a lot of questions for you. I'm really curious to learn more about your life. If you could introduce yourself for the audience, I think that will be a great place to start this episode.
For sure, man. Excited to be in here. First of all,
Thank you.
so basically, I run something called, as you rightly said, Break into VC, right? Based on my journey itself, it is, I won't say it's a program. It's kind of a brotherhood that we all share among the members. So it basically took me 5 months to get into an IB post
Okay.
my college. I just had a startup experience back then. So in that thing, I found out like this journey, I did a lot of mistakes. And I tested that on my lab rat, one of my friend. I used to call him, still call him lab rat. So I tested on him. He got into this thing in within 2 months. And he is also not from a renowned IIT-IIMs or tier one
Right.
college.
Right.
And he's a totally tech guy with doing freelancing, no internship experience. So that was the point. I found something can be done over here, right? And that's where it started. Now the fellow folks have got within month, even like the cohort ended. And also, folks like founders have also joined into the cohort, angel investors, founders who have joined in have raised funds post the cohort, now also a part of
Okay.
Geo Next. So that's the thing. Yeah, so it's going pretty cool now, I would say.
That's great. And what, so I was going through your LinkedIn, obviously. So, and I was trying to understand where you come from, what you do, and like outside of, like before breaking to VC. So, what really intrigued me was that, correct me if I'm wrong, I could remember it wrong right now. So you've done CA, you've done CS, and you also graduated from Delhi University around the same time.
So I graduated from Delhi University, Khalsa College,
Yeah.
gave Khalsa. There are two types of Khalsa, so just clarifying. And I gave CACS Foundation together, cleared both of them, didn't went ahead since I've like CACS was kind of a typical family thing, when you come from
Okay.
down, more into towards startups and all of that thing. So post CACS Foundation cleared, one of our startup started showing something result in terms of traction, in terms of later raising
Right.
a round. So I stopped CACS at that point of time. I said, hey, it's something working over here. Let's do something right here. So that's the thing. So I'm a dropout in both, but I did my college here.
Right. So, but like, does that experience, like, it's, I'm pretty sure that that still puts things into a lot of perspective for you in terms of numbers and looking at and understanding numbers better than non-mathematical or non-accounting background people, right? So does that help you like get a better hang of your daily tasks in that? Because I don't think people understand this, but running a startup or any kind of business is very numbers oriented game, and those who understand numbers better are able to do a better job. Like, we can all throw around jargon, right? We can say that like, theory should be data backed, your actions should be data backed, but where does that data come from? Like, to account for that data and to make sense of that data is a mindset
Hmm.
that enables that behavior, right?
Yeah.
बिकॉज डेटा तो सबके पास है, हर दुकान के पास डेटा है बाहर
Hmm.
इंडिया में,
Hmm.
बट हर दुकान वो कैप्चर नहीं कर पा रही, एंड फिर वो उसको पे कैपिटलाइज नहीं कर पा रहे.
100% man, CACS, even college, like I would say everything which I did in the past has certainly contributed in my journey at some extent. The
Right.
level of extent might be different, right?
Right.
Even for the CA, if I talk about, I learned so much in that about the financials. I learned about the restructuring part of the company. I learned about when I launched my company, I knew like what AOA, MOA is, right?
Right.
I knew each and every process out there. Same with the CS, right? Legal aspects, a bit of company law in that manner. So that helped me a lot in order to gain understanding and knowing like how much this process should take actually and how much someone in front of me is quoting. So that
Okay.
reduced a lot of time that is generally wasted by founders or any XYZ people who has not been into the journey. And I'm just giving this as an example. There are a lot
Yeah.
many things that I learned. So yeah, there is a lot of stuff that I learned in the CACS parts.
Just for my understanding, like personal curiosity, okay, what do they teach in CA? Like in the CA course and the exams, like what is the part of that curriculum?
Okay. So there's some changes right now that has happened, but when I was giving, so in foundation, they teach about all of these things like economics is part of that a bit. Then there is maths, then there's basically accounting is there, right? To whether it's journal, whether it's about calculating valuations, NPV, and all of that. Then in intermediate, they go much deep into that. They talk about restructuring of companies. They talk a lot more about in the Companies Act side of the thing. Then tax comes in. There is how to calculate income tax, corporate tax, what is surge rate, what is not. That also helped me a lot. Understanding my taxation things. What is
Right,
business head? What is salary head, and all of such things. Along with there is a separate subject that was that time there was I don't know still, so that time there was a separate subject of financial management. So and there was something EISM, which is I think is removed now. So EISM was used to really intrigue me a lot. It was all about tech.
okay,
So what's like we say in startup, right? It was about on you know enabling tech in the accounting stuff, you can say, like that ERP systems and all of
got
that.
it.
So there was audit in that, obviously CA and audit. We should, how can we forget? So there was audit.
Yeah,
That was a good thing. So that what intermediates looks like. And when we go to final post articleship also, so we deep dive into the similar subjects as intermediates, but in a much more deeper sense, as well as I think there was one or two subjects that we have to choose as that we will do kind of much more deep sense.
okay.
Subjects. Yeah. So that's how CA curriculum looks like. It's mixed of taxation, financials, business aspects of the things, and auditing, internal auditing, and all of that part. Yeah.
Right. So, like, how would you say like CA is different from accounting like accountants in general?
Hmm. So there's one thing, when we say a CA, an accountant in general, accountant knows about journal entries, they know about how the balance sheet works, how the income statement works. But what I think CA is know what are their implications and impact on taxation, what are their
Okay.
implications impacts on the company, what are their implications and impact on economy, like various other aspects, interlinking of various subjects, and giving it as a more holistic perspective than a general accountant did, what I think is.
Okay. So basically, from what I can understand is that uh, the curriculums of CA also entails law to some extent, whereas accountant are only concerned with their company books.
Yes, yes, yes. In CA, there is company law, there is contract law that you have to study. That taxation law is complete over there. So
Right.
that's the thing.
But your signature is also of much more value than a normal accountant, right? Like
Yes. So
it
it's
holds a lot of value. It's like what they have in like law, right? The bar council. Like if
hmm,
you have that bar, like if you're a member of the bar council, you can practice your own. So I think there's similar value of a
yes.
CA's signature.
It's both. They both are profession. So
Yeah.
that yeah.
Perfect. So, like, sorry, I got lost in my curiosity. So, oh, what happened after that? Like, when you finished your college and dropped out of CACS because you were exposed to the startup world, how did your journey begin?
So it was lot like, man. There was one more. There were a lot of things currently also, like challenges and all of that comes up. But to be honest, it was pretty much exciting. I still like those days. There was one of my school friend whom we started with, and our aim was to build out a bootstrap company with having our own incubation center spread across some acres of land and all of that stuff around. But it turned out a bit of different things, for since we were bootstrap, we had to generate a lot of revenue in that as well. We
Yeah.
did social media marketing, did pitch deck preparation, financial preparation, all of that aspects as well. Then once we were able to generate certain revenue, then there was some founder clashes as some things happened. So
Acha.
the co-founder left, and then I was solo alone. So there was one more friend of me who joined in as an intern and later became the co-founder.
Okay.
So with him, we built out the product, which was Ultimate Aim, and since then we go get ahead by the way and build out certain products, and then we also raised an angel round, friends of family kind of thing,
Okay,
to be
okay,
honest. But yeah, and since at that time also we were profitable, so but eventually we had to close the company and we returned 80 or 90% of the investor money back. So
okay.
yeah, that's what the thing.
It's you also ventured, like you said initially in this podcast, that you took a 6 month period to venture into IB.
So
That was
this
later,
now the startup is closed, right?
right?
I don't know what to do.
Okay.
If you heard it, like I was building pitch deck and financials. I don't know this is called as investment banking.
अच्छा.
So we used to do like, hey, हम आपकी pitch deck और financials बना देंगे.
हाँ.
That was the thing. I don't know this is investment banking thing, and हम आपकी funding में भी मदद कर देंगे.
Okay.
If
So
you
I
want
don't
it.
know what investment banking is. I've only heard like it thrown around as a term. So please feel free to explain, like over explain things to me.
Sure, sure, sure. So first this thing, right? So we didn't knew anything. So I
Right.
found this term ki jo there's like in property there are brokers, right? Who help,
Right,
and
right.
similarly in this kind of industry as well. So that is
Okay.
as investment bankers who
Okay.
help get the for VCs they get the right deals,
Okay.
and for startups they help them in raising funds, the documentation and all of that.
Okay.
So similarly in this industry as well. So I not that time I came across, okay, studying this is some investment banking thing is over here. Okay, how to get into that? Okay, we pitched out to certain companies. So there was one tall claim that we used to make at that time, and I laugh right now at that. So there was a lot of angel network we built around, right? So we built around a lot of people investing a lot of money, even PE funds. So
Okay.
cumulative, you can say if everyone invests a maximum check size, it will cumulatively make $50 million, right?
Okay.
At, so we used to say that, hey, we have formed an angel network worth $50 million. So that's how I laugh at that. Okay, it's nothing. So that's the thing. So used to say that at that point of time, and now I realize, okay, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. No one invest together so much large check something, ठीक है. और वैसे भी हम तो सीड में मदद करते थे, तो सीड में कौन 50 मिलियन डालता है.
हर कोई
So
जेप्टो थोड़ी है.
so that was the thing. So and yeah, मतलब वैसा ही रहा. तो उसके बाद समथिंग पता लगा, फिर वो 5-6 महीने लगे समझने में कि क्या रहा क्या नहीं. फिर I then landed in my first investment banking job in Bayfront Capital Advisors, a Singapore-based investment bank.
Okay.
Journey, learned a lot,
Remote
still,
job?
yeah, remote job, but have visited Singapore like once. So, and also we used to meet once in a while, like the team we met in Delhi, used to travel a lot of meetups, did partnerships, met with some amazing folks out there in the country, considering of, Dholakiyas.
Okay.
Uh, then there are like Deshpande sir. So I don't know if you know Deshpande sir. So it's basically Narayan Murthy's wife's sister's husband.
Were they involved with some defense contracts also?
I'm
Like,
not sure. They run a foundation known as Deshpande Foundation.
okay, okay, okay.
I was invited over there. So the concerned person, Balaji, who invited me, was kind enough to get a one-on-one personal 15 minutes meeting with him. So we
Right.
learned a lot from him in that call and met, Ravindra Baiju and all of such guys, doesn't matter that the company failed or
When
not,
was this?
that aspect. But it was like I think 2 years back. But at that point of time,
So when Byju's was at its peak,
yeah. So you met like him at your story event. So that was met with Tech Burner team and you know
right,
all of that. So it was met with Ranveer Alapadya
right,
while I was taking breakfast. We were at the what we say buffet. We met over
yeah,
there. Manish Pandey. You might have heard in the creator space. So met a lot of guys, learned a lot, and still doing the same. Yeah.
that's great. So that was like the learnings and excitements of your investment banking, man, in investment banking journey.
Yeah, it was going with the investment banking stuff, but apart from investment banking, also I am like कुछ मिलते हैं कुछ सीखते हैं नया. I mean, मतलब I'm just curious, कि how did he did that? How did he did that,
True.
right? That matters. So what's the thing is like that, I know it will take time. I know it will take a lot of effort. I'm ready to put in like 700% or like everything that is in, but I want to put it in the right direction. That's the point,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So
Right.
that's what I'm curious about, and that's why, I keep
Yeah.
moving. Sometimes.
Yeah, I completely agree with the right direction thing. I think because I see like some managers throwing around to their subordinates that you need to work hard, you need to work hard, but they're
Hmm.
not also giving any direction with that motivation that you need to work hard in this direction. So,
Hmm.
for example, I've worked a long time of my life in sales,
Hmm.
and I'm pretty sure you understand how much sales depends on good quality leads. If
Yes.
you as a company are not able to generate good quality leads for your sales team,
Hmm.
I don't think you have a lot to blame your sales team for. If
Yes.
because your marketing function is not solved as a problem,
Hmm.
and now you going back and blaming a sales Niori to the sales team, I don't think it's their problem, because if you're only generating 10 leads and then trying to achieve 30 to 50% conversion rate, it doesn't work like that.
Hmm.
लाइक
Hmm.
ये तो वही बात हो गई ना कि आटे की चक्की में आपने 4 दाने डाले गेहूं के और बोले उसमें से आटा निकालो।
Hmm.
मतलब
Hmm.
भाई
Hmm.
चर्न रेट वगैरह ये सारी
Yeah.
jargon से होते हैं, दे वर्क एट स्केल, दे डोंट वर्क एट वेरी स्मॉल बेसिक नंबर्स।
Hmm. Hmm.
तब तो आपको मतलब हंच पे ही काम करना होता है until you reach that scale।
100%.
तो
Even the partner at that investment bank used to say one thing that I still take with me every time. As Saroj, I recently also met him. He was in India, Delhi. So he used to say you should know what you should not do. So
100%,
yeah, because
हंड्रेड
what
परसेंट
you do keeps changing with the situations and the environment that you are in. Your excitements would be different and everything would be different. But what you should not do, you should be knowing that because
100%।
that would be a complete distraction.
So the best way to understand that in my experience is, and that's something my maths tutor taught me in 11th, 12th grade, I forgot. So he taught me that, so you remember those equations where you have to prove something, some equation, maybe LHS equal to
Yeah.
RHS, some sort of those equations. So he said, the best way to prove these things is try to prove them wrong. Forget
Hmm.
about proving them right. Take the
Hmm.
opposite approach.
Hmm.
And the more you prove them wrong, the right equation will never be able to prove wrong, and the
Hmm.
wrong equation will be proven wrong in like 1 or 2 tries.
Hmm.
Because people take the opposite approach, they and start proving it right. So
Yeah.
like my understanding from that metaphorically was that if you try to prove things wrong, and if you were able to prove them wrong, so you understand कि क्या नहीं चलेगा, and
Hmm.
that is what you can not repeat the next time.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. All the
like
things.
exactly, so there are multiple ways to learn on what not to do. But I
Hmm.
think the best way to do is to try and fail and not repeat those mistakes again. And in a
100%.
contained environment is the best case scenario. Like you don't have to go all out and then be like, "Achha, I failed. I went bankrupt, and now I don't know what to do. Now I know what not to do." But you don't get another chance in life sometimes, and for a long time. So I
Hmm.
completely agree with that approach. It's more important to know what not to do than to know what to do.
Yes, that's the case. That's how I'm also learning and implementing currently as well. What I'm
Yeah. But any good deals that you were part of at that investment banking journey?
so yeah, so when I entered that, so I won't be able to name any kind of company, but
Okay.
just to I'll get the things like what kind of a deal. So when I entered, they were closing, I was not directly involved that since that was a very later stage. So they were closing project finance in Thailand, if I'm not wrong. Uh,
Okay.
that was $1 billion deal.
Okay.
So that closed at that time. Then there was a D2C company based out of Dubai. They were amazing company. Eventually, I didn't know that what happened, but since I was there, it was the deal that was I got them a commitment, a soft commitment of what $100K within a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so like from initially getting in touch to getting like, hey, we'll do 100K, but co-invest. So that's kind
Okay.
of
Got it.
that's the thing. And apart from it, there were a bunch of the deals happening around. Like one of the guy got commitment or were in talks with Mahindra, if I'm not wrong, at
Okay.
that time. Yeah, so such kind of things were happening around at that thing.
Right. Perfect. So I'm pretty sure that these are the few deals that went through,
Hmm.
and there might have been a lot of deals that did not go through.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that you were part of the decision-making team at least, who was
Hmm.
saying that this is why we'll not be able to go through with this
Hmm.
idea or venture or whatever
Hmm.
you guys call it in that space. So,
Hmm.
like, what are the top five, top 10 things that you rejected startups for in order to get them like that
Okay.
close to their journey?
So as an IB, I also say this in the cohort, right? When I
You can talk
say,
about this, right? Like, that's
yeah,
fine,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It's pretty basic in every IB, to be honest. So I say this in the cohort also when I tell them, like, yesterday was that class. So
Okay.
I tell them like,
So ये revision हो जाएगा.
so why an IB rejects or what an IB
Right.
looks, right, in a deal. So it's basically first is the paying capacity. If
Okay.
the founder
Of the
does
ticket
have
size.
of whatever the fee, like even if you have a certain fee for the documentation like pitch deck or financials,
Okay.
and the founder doesn't have that, and he is reaching out to you for the pitch deck, it doesn't mean to engage with him, right?
Okay.
It's just time waster.
Right, right, right. Got it.
But charging 1 lakh, he has a budget of 10,000.
Got it.
No.
Got it. Got it. What
So
is the average price range of an IB?
it's a lot varied.
Okay.
Same
But
was
what's the
yesterday.
range?
It can start from 15,000, can go up to 7, 8, 10 lakhs.
Okay. Got it. Is it
So,
worth it?
yes, it is, because what happens is it's not just a pitch deck that comes. Suppose you're getting a 10 lakh pitch deck, right?
Yeah.
So it is not just a pitch deck, it's the brand value of that IB as well. So that's the
Yeah.
point. So suppose Goldman Sachs prepared your pitch deck, right? So if
Yeah.
you reach out to someone saying, hey, or if Goldman Sachs will, and we have gotten the pitch deck prepared for Goldman Sachs, they will
Yeah.
know if he has paid 10 lakh, he is doing certain XYZ revenue. So that is
Yeah.
also happened, right? And also if Goldman Sachs has taken this project to work upon, there should be something good in it.
Got it.
That also works on, right? So that is the thing.
Got
And also about the team that is working and all of that for. So it's
Yeah.
kind of depends upon startup to startup which stage it is worth or not. But yeah,
Got
it
it.
is considerable in that stage. So that is the thing. So yeah, what where we were like
You were
top.
telling me, yeah, and top things that you look for startups to not invest or like not take forward.
So the first is paying capacity.
Yeah.
Second is rigidity of founder.
Yeah.
Because if the founder is rigid, he won't be sharing any documents, right?
Okay.
Which he need to share out to the investor, or maybe getting the suppose the IB has given a timeline of we have discussed a timeline of 8 to 10 months. The founder hasn't given out the documents and then saying, hey, you have exceeded the time limit. What are you are happening? So that's just not how the things work.
That's the problem for all service. Like I think it's service industry in general that
Yes.
clients delay the timelines and then they blame
Yes.
the vendor.
Yes. So rigidity of the fund. Third is market. Market also
Okay.
plays a very crucial role. See, IB is not a Robin Hood thing that, hey, you are not getting the fund, I'll get you the fund. It's not like that.
IB is trendy.
IB is not trendy. Suppose IB works in three sectors only, right? Suppose I am an IB, I work in fintech and SaaS, whether it's trendy or not, right? But if apart from these sectors, people are reaching out, straightforward rejecting, right?
Yeah.
Even some IBs who works on the basis of that sectors which are trending, for them also other sectors are just rejecting because
Yeah.
ultimately they have their what is their North Star metric? That depends. For an IB, a North Star metric should be is that the founder, if the founder has engaged 100 fully, that the founder has get the money in the bank with the good conditions,
Yeah.
right? So money in the bank will only happen where the VCs are investing, and the VCs will invest in those sectors so that for an IB are trending, right?
Got it.
That's where an IB looking for the founder. These, I think, the three things that an IB sees while getting the founder in. There may be bunch other things as well, like maybe geographies or some kind of conditions that the IBM may have put in. Yeah.
So based on your experience, what are the like top emerging markets that you see coming out of India, at least?
In India, see, I think India is gonna be very different than any other market, right? Even if we talk about an AI adoption, we say I will take jobs, AI will take jobs, right? But whose jobs, right? Most of the jobs are not taken off, like people who are working as construction or in such things. Their jobs are not taken.
Yeah.
The mostly of those guys who are not getting updated themselves are in the white collar jobs, not blue collar
Yeah.
jobs. So that's what the thing is happening. So in India, I think something in this space, in white collar jobs where the talent pool is getting kicked out to upgrade themselves or to get them somewhere. That is one thing that our opportunity. That is basically a lot of talent pool which will be left out. Then second is, I think, the increasing income disparity. A lot of investments are happening in India is growing at a very fast pace,
Yeah.
but unlike any other country, there is a lot of population.
Yeah.
So there is an increase in income disparity also. So whether it's, there are two kind of things. One thing is reported and one thing is unreported. I'm
Yeah.
talking in completing both the parts, right? Because someone will come and throw the data on the comments. So, so income disparity, trying to reduce that or not even reduce that, but making people like available with the resources so that
Okay.
if they want, they can increase their income levels,
Okay.
right?
Is
So
there an example for that?
suppose like a blue collar guy, what does he need, in terms like good education
Okay.
for his kids, right? Maybe upskilling is another thing over there. Maybe health and nutrition, that is the part over there, right? So in such segments, targeting, tier two, tier three, that's why we see a lot of people saying like we are targeting tier two, tier three, right? Because
Yeah.
that is where they are looking right now, right? And then there is climate. Climate is a very deep topic because as the earth, in US, we saw a heat dome, highest temperature in US ever. So such kind of things are happening all around the globe. And if it's a US problem, it's a global problem. That what US think is. So so they will invest in the money in the climate now.
Yeah. And
So
we anyway have Trump and Elon Musk taking over US now.
yeah, so that's a different thing. But so whatever the thing is, like now the money will be putting into the climate, right? And even for India, that is a core problem because India largely operates on coal.
Yeah.
And that is not just saying that India is unfair because India got its independence late. India has much more people to serve.
Yeah.
India has more income disparity to cater to. That the thing. But therefore, Indian problems will be solved in a very much different way than US or Europe or maybe any other country will,
Yeah.
right? So climate is also one of an opportunity that I think is a good market emerging. So we have talked about AI,
100%.
healthcare, and climate.
Yeah. I completely agree. And like to add to your point, as like India being a different society or civilization through ancient times, not just today. I was actually thinking about it recently on my own, and I was thinking about it. Why is it so hard for India to adopt to anything ever in time
Hmm,
versus the other parts of the world? And why is US so ahead of its time outside of the dollar disparity and everything? Like, okay, they have dollars and everything, and dollar is the highest valued currency in the world, largely utilized. But still, it can't be the only reason why they're ahead, right? So
hmm,
I was thinking about it because India is the land of such old civilizations
hmm,
that US had a fresh start like 300-400 years ago. They
hmm,
started 300-400 years ago building foundations just very recently in the like relative history of
hmm,
mankind. Whereas we started like thousands of years ago.
hmm,
So it's always difficult to shape an existing structure
hmm.
than to create a new one, and new
Yes.
structures of like you can create with better foundations and everything. It's easier to like manipulate them and call it like okay take it, this is the best structure in the world.
Hmm,
Obviously it's the best structure in the world because you created it with modern technology. We
hmm,
are still using like uh rural technologies and like ancient technologies in a large part of India.
hmm,
And like I know Sergam AI and all other companies are working on tackling the fact, to enable AI adoption in India,
hmm,
because India in itself has multiple languages.
hmm,
Like, forget about outside India, international languages. We have an insane number of languages, and then we have insane number of dialects.
hmm,
Like, North India has like people speaking Hindi in different ways,
hmm, hmm, hmm,
like just Hindi. Like Haryanvi is a different Hindi, UP is a different, Noida is a different Hindi. So all forms of Hindi. Like if
hmm,
you talk to those people, you will understand what they're saying, but you will not be able to replicate it or like in the first go, of course. But you will understand what they're saying because it's some form of Hindi. Whereas if you go to South, it's a completely different language. So
hmm,
I think it's so dense. It's not just population. The history is so dense. The
hmm,
culture is so dense that it will always be technology aversive rather
Mm.
than accepting uh, of. And these are just my 2 cents that I was thinking about, and I think that's why I don't think it, like you said, only white collar jobs I have to worry about AI adoption per se, because they will get obsolete. But the hand jobs, the kirana stores and everything, I don't think that will, like in large parts of area, in India, not just metro cities. Metro cities might see a shift, but I just feel like the tier two, tier three cities will just, there will be a huge gap between these metro cities and tier two, tier three cities.
That what the income disparity is, right?
Yeah. It'll
That's
just
what.
only increase with AI adoption and all.
Yes, yes, that's the case. I also think, will you compare a person with $1 million and a person with $100,
Yeah.
right? You won't.
Yeah.
The same is with the US and other countries. I think, see, being a very patriotic kind of thing over here, US, you know, promotes freedom. And if you see the US branding, it's mostly like if you are rich, you are having great
The
wealth,
American dream.
you should go to US, right? So
Yeah.
ultimately they are creating a class, right?
Yeah.
US as the rich class and you are still promoting, freedom to speech and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
right? But that's the thing, I think you rightly put up. The people just got all the rich class in England and all other countries just got
Exactly. And
US.
migrated to US.
Yes, and even in the US itself, if you will see the south of US, it's not that much rich
Yeah.
because it's the agricultural area. And
Yeah.
even when Cold War happened, it was between North and South US. So North was the rich one guys, and South were the guys who were doing agricultural and all of these activities more involved,
Yeah.
right? So that was the case. So see, the worlds are shifting,
Yeah.
things are new. We are getting to a new age. That what I think is, and India has its own problem and it's addressing it in a very unique sense. For an example, I heard this startup, what it this does in the climate spaces, since we are getting into much more flats, right? So in US, you have homes, right? Different
Yeah.
percent home rather than flat because of less population and more land.
Yeah.
So they have the solar panels installed on each home.
Yeah.
But in India, there are flats.
Yeah.
So what this guy did is he created a hub of solar panels where he generates electricity and transfer that electricity to each flats at a cost similar if they would have the solar panel installed in there,
Got
right?
it.
Because the terrace has a less space for
Yeah.
everyone to. So that's the thing. So that's an Indianization of the problem, right? So
Yeah.
I think the startups which will solve the real problem will only get succeeded in India at least if they
Yeah.
solve the Indian problem. If you're copying just the US problem, whether in AI or any other thing, you won't get anything in India. And you would just blame, hey, Indians don't pay, hey, Indian diaspora is this, hey, that's that. I have seen such guys,
Yeah.
it's just constantly victim mentality. That's what I think
Yeah.
is.
I completely agree. I think there's enough gold in India for everyone. We just don't know how to harness it. And talking on the subject of solar panels, so I've worked in a solar like panels and like deployment company, EPC company, they call it engineering, procurement, and construction, who helped put up these solar panels on your roof. The biggest challenge in putting up solar panels in Indian space is not the space itself, it's the shadows. So the um why what you're saying makes much more sense in US rather compared to India, because a they have homes that are like built like this. So
Hmm.
when your roof is built like this, you have this area also
Yeah,
unobstructed and this area also unobstructed, right?
that's the case.
So but in India it's flat. So
Yes.
since it's flat, you have all, and we have, like you said, we have apartments instead of homes. So we have a lot more things on, like the roof rather than just the roof. So we
Yes.
have the lift room, we have the,
It's a playground.
tankers.
Yeah, we play cricket on
Exactly,
the roof. That's the thing.
exactly. So we have water tankers and all of those things, and they put all of those things in the basement, not
Hmm.
on the roof.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so, so that's the difference. Like the
Yes.
construction will stop us from
Hmm.
adopting this technology. Even if, let's say, 80% of India wants to adopt to this technology, they will not be able to, because the construction is going to stop them. So
Hmm.
that is going to be a huge challenge in adoption of solar energy, which is going to be very necessary in the near future. But what you also said rightly was that social energy farming is going to be the next big thing.
Hmm.
Like there are going to be some companies who are going to be farming this sort of energy, and then like acting as a power grid,
Hmm.
like BSES or Rajdhani Power Limited
Hmm.
or like Reliance Group, how they do it, or Adani Power, whatever,
Yeah,
whoever's doing. So that is, but the again the challenge will become the same thing that is with the petrol, that only top players will be playing at that game. I don't think a lot of, like, you can have a lot of startups emerge out of it initially, but then at the end of the day, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, and the adoption is at max, there will only be 3 4 companies.
yeah, 100%. That's the
It's
case in every industry.
Yeah, yeah. So you are not going to have many options again. So you'll have the BSES and Adani Power of the country, and that's what you'll have to settle with.
Yeah, that's the case, man. And I think, Adani emerged right now, Zerodha emerged right now. So if you see Zerodha didn't emerge from petroleum or something, right? It emerged from a unique perspective. So that's the case. So I think there will be more of such companies emerging in such manner, a lot more like Zomato is doing good. Swiggy just
Yeah,
got listed, right? Paytm is in there, the
yeah,
game. So Info Edge is there, right? So these kind of companies will emerge, they will make a lot, but still, if you will consider the time span, Ambani's has been there for long, Tata's has
yeah,
been there for long, Birla's have been there for long. These
yeah.
companies just started, and it also depends upon the hunger of the next generation.
Yeah, I think the only game changer could be like, we need a technology like Apple changed the computer segment market in 1977. So we need a similar revolution in the renewable energy market. We need like lesser amount of panels and more amount of energy, and that is when each home will be able to suffice for themselves. Like, if one panel or two panels could solve my energy problems for the day, I think that is going to be a win-win case. Like, how Apple came up with personal computers rather than 200 feet big ass computers. So I think that is
Yeah,
going to be the game changer. And
that.
on top of that, there's going to be like the advancement we see in batteries. That's going to make renewable energy more and more successful.
Hmm.
So batteries is going to be the game changer with
Hmm.
renewable energies, because if you're able to charge a high amount of voltage in a battery, or like watt in a battery through renewable energy, then it becomes transferable.
Yeah, that's true. Like, see, there are two things. The amount of energy that you can charge in what time,
Yeah,
the amount of energy that you can store in a single battery.
yeah.
If these three things solved, then that will be a game changer.
Exactly. So I think when we have the equilibrium of these two things, it's like the adoption is going to skyrocket. We'll see a geo revolution all over again, like we
Yes.
saw in 2016. But having said that, coming back to the like topic at hand, so you realize the value of investment banking, you realize the value of startups, you realize the value of helping the right startup gain like raise the right amount of funds, and then you see the magic happen. So you realize you saw all of this happening firsthand,
Hmm.
and in like with the best of the founders and like best in class of the founders and people and with investors, of course.
Hmm.
So you see the kind of returns that you can have for investors as well. So
Hmm.
how did you start your journey with breaking into VC? Okay, two parts. What is break into VC? Let's deep dive into like what you do and how did you start it. Let's start with that.
So it's basically a cohort program,
Yeah,
uh, which is we are a group of people like who are helping people to get into VC or IB things. Similarly, avoiding my mistakes that I did in the past 5 6 months. So what it does is it took me 5 6 months to get into an IB role because of lack of the prep things that I needed, as well as bunch of the things which I didn't knew about how the things work.
yeah,
Got the hands on onto that and learned a lot in that aspects and then landed somewhere. So I figured that out. There can be not a blueprint, but there can be a path
right.
that everyone can build out their own. It's similar like 7 blocks, and via those 7 blocks, everyone can build his own path, right?
Yeah, it's a
So
framework, you can use
yeah,
it for yourself.
yeah, so that's a kind. So it's a kind of a framework, that people go through. They learn about researching, financial modeling, and actually being, how the things work out, IC committee, and all of that stuff around.
Yeah,
So that's a thing where people learn and they eventually get into VC or IB. There are not people limited to who want to get into an VC and IB. That's what we have understood. There are people, founders who want to raise funds. There are angel investors who want to understand how VCs invest, therefore they can invest in similar or such better companies. There are people who have built multi-million dollar companies, now they are exploring VC sites, so they want to understand that. So that's the case.
Got
The,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how big is your cohort? Like, how many members are there?
It's mostly like, see, each and every member, I build their own personal story.
Got it.
It's very, subjective to have
Yeah.
that. So we try to keep it like somewhat around 10. That's
Okay.
what we aim for. The reason is pretty simple again. Each person I
Personalization.
work with personally, we said like it's a framework, so everyone can use it personally. The guy who went from, a customer care job to, working with IB and now managing Adani's deal
Yeah.
has a different framework from a pathway, kind of similar framework with different pathway customization. The
Right.
guy took the tech side from a tire to now in, the sides of things. So he has a different kind of thing. So I both worked them on personalization. And if I say personalization, it is like he was
Yeah.
having an interview. He called me, bro, मैं आ जाता हूँ. We'll sit together. I said, come on.
Yeah.
So that level of personalization. If I say personalization, it is not just, hey, okay, I am pointing somewhat in the cohort.
Yeah.
That's personalization. So it's
That's so true. I'm pointing at someone in the corner. But yeah, that's what personalization has come down to, like taking the name and pointing at someone. But
yeah, that's what people say, ki,
yeah,
hey, yes, we used to interact in the class. Who
yeah.
will interact in the class? He's in the class. What's the number?
But
So
is it a like pretty sure it's a paid course, right?
yeah,
How
it is a paid course.
how much is the fees?
So currently it's like 25K, somewhat around that.
And how
Uh,
many cohorts a year?
So it's not like a fixed cohort number of cohorts in a year. It's we do not operate like we have to achieve 10 lakhs MRR, we have to achieve 10 crores ARR. No, we
Okay,
don't operate like that. We operate like, hey, let's see, uh, every cohort it's learning for us as well. In the first cohort, we found certain learnings. In the second cohort, we found certain learnings. We saw that people said, hey, can you deep dive more into financials? So this time
got
I
it,
brought a guy from Deloitte who's doing
got
finance
it.
at night. They want, hey, can you deep dive more into term sheets? So I brought a lawyer who had done $200 million deals and handling term sheets, all of such things. So that's a part, so it's a learning as well for us. So we take the feedback, we work upon them, and then we launch the next code so that we
Got
have
it.
all the things rather than just, you know, launching two, three, seven cohorts together and just
Yeah.
having hundreds of people, launching. इतना job ही नहीं है भाई क्या क्या करेंगे.
सही बात है. बट आपका ये बूटस्ट्रैप्ड है या लाइक इज इट वेंचर बैक्ड?
It's a bootstrap. It's a businessman. It's not a VC funded thing, to be honest.
There are some cohort like Stoa recently closed down. It was
Yeah,
venture backed, and it was one of the first cohort based
yeah.
learning platforms, online learning platforms.
But I think it's more of a bootstrap business की तरह बनाओ you raise. There are a lot of cohorts that have raised funds, but I don't think cohort business is like a fundable kind of thing. At least if someone comes to me, that's what I think is. The
That's
reason
very
being,
honest. That's very honest of you. I
yeah,
think, I also think the same. L- I think it's a controversial opinion, but I also think the same because there are some companies who are doing really well about this. But the problem with such companies become that the day technology like surpasses their offerings or values, they become obsolete, and it's very hard to answer to investors. Like, I'm not equating any like anyone in this ecosystem, but I'm just talking about the first large victim of AI, a company called Chegg. It
yeah.
used to,
I recently also reading was that the chat GPT got
yeah,
a $4 billion company down. So I was reading
exactly,
the headline. Yeah.
exactly, and that's horrible. Like,
Yeah,
if you're so,
that's
like, I think the reason why people pay for these cohorts is more for the network rather than for what they're teaching at the cohort
that's
anymore.
a rightly put up thing, the network part that comes in, especially in the VC aspects. And also I would say personalization.
Yeah,
Because open ज्ञान यहाँ पे हर जगह available है. Everyone has
exactly.
something to get into VC. Everyone is teaching how to get into VC, but they themselves haven't made into VC. That is the part. And secondly, also for the cohort businesses raising fund, I also think key see it's investor, they want their exit, right? You cannot stay. So they want you to scale. So if you will scale, you will have a lot of people in your cohorts, right? And the problem then again became the same that you started for. No personalization. Why cohort? Then sell the online courses, right?
Yeah.
That thing is कि online courses में personalization है तो फिर वो बेच दो. So
Yeah, I
for
know. I know completely.
I think it's a business, just do it, bootstrap. That's what I think is I'm not, even if I'm offered some money, until unless it's 100 crores, I won't take it.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think that's a good number to have. कि
So
मतलब कुछ फायदा तो हो यार अपना, अगर बंदा उठाए भी, मतलब अगर जिल्लत लेनी है तो थोड़ा मतलब अच्छे से जिल्लत लेंगे.
नहीं 100 crores में ये नहीं कह रहा कि someone takes and investing 10% buy the company. I will still
Yeah,
teach,
I
but give
I
me
get
100
that.
crores in cash.
Yeah, the acqui hires kind of
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, I'm good with that. But the thing is, still, I don't think this is a venture funded kind of business.
Yeah, I know a couple of like big course or like courses selling online courses selling companies who's struggling to make a profit anymore, and like they still have VCs to answer. So they, I don't know how long will they be able to run the show, but it's just like I think 2021 changed the game. Like the edtech boom and the crypto boom, everyone was trying to raise funds without providing any solid long-term value. You might be providing interim value, but you were not providing, like, you were providing value for the people who were scared for their lives. Like like shut in lockdown, what will we do after this? We did not know how long the lockdown or its effect will last for. Now you look around, there's no lockdown anymore, nobody's scared about COVID anymore, and it's a thing of the past. So similarly, that's making that those companies a thing of the past, because you have access to the physical world again, and nothing will beat the physical world ever. Because that's just how people are programmed, right? We want to go out, we want to meet people, we don't want to just keep texting people. And
Yeah, that's the case, man. That's the case. And see, I don't defame any online course company, but I have taken online courses. I have
same,
done, right? But the thing
I'm
is,
talking about scale and like
yes,
ROI. I'm
in
not
terms of
talking about
business,
value.
yes.
I'm
In
talking
terms
about
of
from the business
business, yes,
in terms of
yes.
business only. I'm not
I
taking any
agree.
personal shots. That's why I'm not naming any company, because I
Yes,
have gained a lot of value myself. But I
yes.
am one of those cases because like courses do not have more than like 10% of like completion rate
And rate,
at
yes.
scale. So, but in your case, I'm pretty sure since you're only taking 10 people and personalized people, your completion
We
rate is much
have,
higher.
if you don't attend 5 sessions, we kick you out of the court.
Exactly. It's because you have that autonomy, that uh, like uh, like control over your own system, that you
It's
can say these things.
It's pretty simple, man. If someone is not attending 5 or more sessions, he's not interested. We just have 15, 20 sessions, right? And he is not investing for 5 sessions.
Material. Yeah.
Yeah, so that seems like, you have 1/4 of the time you are not available. So what will
Yeah.
you do? You will miss out a lot of things.
Uh,
I,
And
I will
it will look bad on your brand name also, right? If they go and tell people that we're from breaking to VC, but they missed out on some very basic information.
That's a secondary thing. But for me, I am putting you personalization thing, right? For all the people I have said, personally reach out करना personally करो कभी call करना call करो no issues all of that thing right so but if they are doing that I am giving that time right so that should commitment from come from your side also that's the thing and even I what we were analyzing 2 days back we discovered कि जितने भी past cohorts हैं like cohort 2 is 100% placed right so even cohort 1 में how much like I think 50% somewhat got placed so what we discovered in both the cohorts जिन्होंने भी सारे assignments करे थे और जो रोज आए थे they all are placed
Got
right
it.
so
Got
who
it.
worked they got placed who didn't they are not simple
अभी तक कितने cohorts कर चुके हो आप in the last 2 years?
so since I was on a break for 1.5 years
Okay,
so prior to that I did 2 cohorts
two cohorts.
yeah
So like around, you've dealt with probably 20, 30 people
no
in
we
it.
just took 8 people into that they were just pilot runs
Okay.
so we took just 8 people worked on them solid now we think yes we have done we are able to crack that test the code apart from my lab rat also you know
Yeah.
he's working on different people and different scenario and different
Yeah.
perspectives now we can have 10 people and we can give personalization to them and then they can go ahead with that's the thing
Mm,
what we
got it. And what's your goal for break into VC to become the next, like in the next, let's say 3 to 5 years? What, like as a business, what do you see happening?
see I'm not sure to be honest जैसा मार्केट करेगा वैसा करेंगे इट्स
Right.
प्रीटी। मार्केट कहेगा नहीं चाहिए, हमको आता है, वी विल क्लोज। मार्केट कहेगा देयर इज अ नीड, वी विल डू, वी विल फुलफिल दैट। देयर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स मार्केट सेज। मार्केट ने कहा कि ब्रो लग तो रहे हैं, जॉब कहाँ ढूंढे, राइट?
Hmm.
सो वी क्रिएटेड समथिंग, वी सी अपॉर्चुनिटीज, नोशन पोर्टल जाके
Hmm.
वहाँ सेग्रीगेटेड सारी जगह पे।
Right.
सो वॉट एवर मार्केट सेज, एज यू सेड कि प्रीवियस कोर्स ने कहा फाइनेंशियल डिटेल लाओ, डिटेल आ गए, टर्म शीट डिटेल लाओ, टर्म शीट डिटेल आ गई। सो
Yeah.
वॉट एवर द मार्केट विल से, वी आर जस्ट doing that. That's it. So in the next 4 to 5 years, whatever the market will say to us, we will do that. As simple as it.
Got it. एक थोड़ा पर्सनल क्वेश्चन पूछूं?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can choose not to answer it if it like, and it's not to offend anyone, it's out of curiosity again. I've heard that Jain as a community is very business oriented community, and they're very closely knit, and they help each other start businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Like they encourage that behavior. They're very well educated. They understand the value of businesses. So is that true? Like, do they support you to start your own venture and like become successful through their network and whatnot?
To be honest, I believe Jain is such a community, right? They are. But if you will find me in my personal experience, uh, I have not differentiated between a Jain and non-Jain when I'm reaching out to someone for help.
Of course, I'm asking you, do they like are there networks, ready-made networks for Jain?
Ready-made kind of
Like
thing.
ऐसे like some WhatsApp group or something that where you can just put in.
I am not a part of anything like
अच्छा
that.
होता है?
होता होगा, बट मैं नहीं हूँ ऐसा कुछ का पार्ट राइट
अच्छा
नाउ।
अच्छा.
मे बी आई हैव नॉट मेड दैट बिग राइट नाउ। होती हो, मैं नहीं हूँ ऐसा कुछ का। So I know that Jain's a supportive community, right? In
Yeah.
terms of business or other things as well, right? A lot of things. But yeah, like groups वगैरह होता है नहीं होता, like I am not a part of right now. So there are organizations like Jito and all of that that are
Okay.
Jain organizations, They are all other members as well, but they are formed by Jain, like full form, I'm not sure. Jain International Trade Organization. If I might be wrong, right?
Okay.
Something like that. So it's a very large organization having its own fund, incubation, its angel network, international organization. But the thing is, again, uh, it totally depends. Like currently, I'm not part of such WhatsApp group or kind of thing.
गॉट इट मैं तो ऐसे ही पूछ रहा था, लाइक आई वाज जस्ट क्यूरियस, तो मैंने सोचा पूछ लूँ आपसे क्योंकि आप जैन कम्युनिटी से बिलोंग करते हैं तो.
Okay.
बट वन लास्ट क्वेश्चन, सो लाइक सिंस यू ऑलरेडी इनटू mentoring and educating people into about VC segment, do you not ever want to like start your own fund,
यार कर
or
सकते
even
हैं।
even an angel fund, like this time for actual like कि ठीक है हाँ 50 million का फंड होगा अपना?
कर सकते हैं, नहीं भी कर सकते। सी आई वांट, आई गेट द फन थिंग्स, राइट? टू बी ऑनेस्ट, फॉर मी, आई लाइक बिल्डिंग थिंग्स,
Yeah.
more of a founder perspective. That what I think is. I also love managing funds. Some people say they are different kind of things. For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a flip of coin. एक जगह पे पैसा बनाना है, एक जगह पे लगाना है, ठीक है?
Right.
तो बनाना आता है तो पता है कि कौन बना लेगा। That's a
Right.
simple. So for me, I prefer right now at the stage where I think I may be managing a fund or not, but I will be surely building something. That's what
Okay.
I
But in like an angel network or something, मतलब.
can be. An angel network, can be a business, can be XYZ thing, maybe managing, or maybe a fund as well, right? But for fund, what excites me is raising a fund. If you will ask me that, hey, raise $200 million, I'll raise that. But in the buy side, what happens is it requires a lot of patience, analyzing multiple companies, looking out for things, then getting the documents, then putting in the money, then waiting 3, 4 years to get the return, all of that. That I see it as like a passive thing with such patience. I'm more of an लेट्स सी कि अगला 1 करोड़ कैसे आएगा, अगला 2 करोड़ कैसे आएगा, अगला 5 करोड़ कैसे, 10 करोड़ कैसे, 15 करोड़। सो दैट्स व्हाट दैट केक इज, 6 महीने के अंदर 500 करोड़ रेस करने हैं। सो दैट इज व्हाट ओके, चैलेंज है। सो आई डोंट, obviously there is a challenge to invest in unicorns or like maybe good companies, but I feel like there's a lot to learn from that, from even for me at the close.
Makes sense. But I think this gives me a lot of insight personally into the VC space of how things work. I recently spoke with Chandrasekhar, uh, like who's an angel investor in a lot of syndicates, who also runs his own fund called the Peaceful Fund, and he gave me a lot of insight into the CA aspect also, like because he was a CA and then he went into working in a lot of companies in M&A, and then
Yeah.
he started his own firm and
Yeah.
helped a lot of companies, and then he ventured into angel investing in 2017 and has invested into 50 plus startups so far.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so he has a good portfolio. Gave me a lot of insights in to what it is to be an angel investor and
Mm.
an M&A like mediator also facilitated like $25 billion deals or something like that in his career. So gave me a lot of insight. But today I got a lot of insight into VC world as
Mm.
in like in general. And I think that's very valuable. I think this is also like a demo course for break into VC for people learning like for free, of course, that people
Yeah.
learn more about how to venture into VC and like is it even right for them or not.
Yeah.
Like if it excites them, then they could probably learn from your experience and reach out to you. If it does not, then they can do find something else maybe.
It's 100%. It's just about saving the time. You have time,
Yeah.
get out yourself. If you don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. But thank you so much, Himanshu. I'm really happy to have you on for today's episode. And is there anything that you would like to say towards the end of the episode as an ending note?
Just a disclaimer, I'm still to make my Pehla Crore.
Yeah, 100%. But you've had impact of more than 1 crore, right? You've helped companies raise more than 1 crore. So I think people don't have exposure to that number. That is my like
Mm.
reason of building this podcast as well, because I want to remove the enigmacy around the wealth. So
Mm.
since you've had that experience, you know how exciting and challenging that journey can be of raising or earning or making
Yeah.
like your first crore or your 10th crore, your 100th crore. But
Yeah.
uh, those who don't have it don't even have that clue. If I need 1 crore today, where do
Mm.
I get it from? If I
Mm.
can't get it from anywhere, where do I earn it from? If I can't earn it from anywhere, where do I like help people make it enough time so that I learn it myself?
Mm.
So you have that exposure to, I think, all three of those things.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
you're on a path to make your 1 crore. You're choosing not to, you're taking it slow.
Mm.
बट
Yeah.
जैसे आपने बोला कि आप स्केल नहीं करना चाह रहे ज़्यादा जल्दी, यू वांट टू बिल्ड अ लॉन्ग
Mm.
lasting business, so you're taking it slow. That's a conscious choice.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
just today, if you were to get like, I don't think it will take you more than 6 months to raise funds for this particular idea itself, because you have this experience and you know how to mold things into looking what would excite the investors, at least for a couple of crores.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't tested the market yet.
But I'm just saying you. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you'll will succeed if you try. I'm saying, but
Yeah.
you have an idea of how to do it.
Yeah. That's the thing.
People don't have go to a college, right? Go to like walk on the street, talk to 10 different people, ask them how will you, if you had to raise 1 crore, how
Mm.
what would be your approach? You will learn your curse of knowledge. The curse of knowledge is as such that we think that this is common knowledge,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that is what you're teaching in your course, right? In your cohort.
That's a good thing. After cohort two, I said, I founded that I'm teaching a very common thing, but later on,
It's
like,
common to you.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
that's a,
common to them. It's not common knowledge. People are not stupid for paying 25,000 fee
yeah,
for
that's a thing.
common knowledge. So
Like,
even if they are, they want validation of that common knowledge. कि is this true? ये knowledge पता तो था मैं.
100% money back. So
Yeah,
that's,
exactly. Exactly. But हमें पता तो था, but ये सही भी है या नहीं?
hmm,
So all of those things are there. Like it's not just like one size fits all situation.
yeah, yeah, 100.
Yeah. But I'm just saying you are undervaluing yourself. The reason why I asked you was because मैंने इतनी बातें करी आपसे, आपने मुझे इतनी सारी चीजें बताई, आपने बोला कि इतनी करोड़ों की डील आपने होते हुए देखे, वो एक्सपोजर लोगों का है ही नहीं,
Hmm, hmm,
मुझे नहीं है. मैं किसी और, आई डोंट हैव टू गो लुकिंग वेरी फार. आई हैव
hmm,
नॉट सीन many crores of deals happening around me, and that is why it excites me. These stories excite me कि अच्छा ऐसा होता है. ब- I I think I was stunted in my career. My growth was stunted in my career until I realized कि कितना पैसा दुनिया में.
hmm,
मैं 30,000 35,000 की सैलरी पे काम कर रहा था. आई यूज टू थिंक अच्छा भाई 50,000 अगर मिल जाएंगे ना तो लाइफ सेट हो जाएगी,
hmm.
क्योंकि मुझे पता ही नहीं था ना उससे ज़्यादा भी मिल सकते हैं.
Yeah, that's a case. That's a
मुझे
case.
पता ही नहीं था उससे ज़्यादा मांग सकते हैं. उससे कहाँ मांगना है, किससे मांगना है, कैसे मांगना है, क्यों मांगना है, क्या वैल्यू देनी है, क्या वैल्यू लेनी है. सो ये सारी चीज़ें पता ही नहीं थी तो मैंने मांगी नहीं.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Agreed.
तो मेरा तो गोल ये है कि भाई मैं बता दूँ सामने वाले को, जो करना है नहीं करना वो उसके हाथ में.
Hmm. That's a case.
But it's not about you just earning your like first crore yet. It's about just exposure of that knowledge. वीसीस का तो गेम ही करोड़ों का ना. वो देख रहे हैं आपने वीसी. अगर इफ you're helping people getting into break into VC, as you say, you're
Mm.
already giving them exposure to crores and crores of deal if they get into any VC, even the smallest of funds.
Yeah, that's the case.
It will not like your ticket size could be average on average 25 lakh, 30
Hmm.
lakh for 10 lakhs, but the fund will not be less than a crore. Otherwise,
Hmm.
it's not a fund. It's not a VC.
You cannot form a fund less than a crore.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So you are already enabling people to get that break into that exposure.
Yeah.
So don't cut yourself short of what you are doing.
That's the case. That's the case. Thank you, man. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on today's episode. I really appreciate your insights. I learned a lot myself, and thank you for being so candid and honest. So, but yeah, I think I'll get you on for another episode in this next 6 7 month period and l- capture your journey until then with Break into VC.
Sure, man. Loved having a chat and would love to jam again and talk where we have come and what
Perfect.
we have been doing throughout.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll just stop the recording now.
Yeah.